So after 2 months with no reviews, here we are, ladies and germs. But this time we're doing things a bit diff. This review is split up into different parts of the game that I want to talk about. And let me know if you like this better. Now, let's get into giving the world my factual opinion. I'm not really sure what to say about the story in this game because I didn't hate it, I didn't like it either. For most of the main story, it feels like tutorial with an occasional real level thrown in. If you asked me any of the characters' names, I could tell you Fig, Weasley, Sebastian, and Garlic. I even struggled coming up with those names because the characters don't feel like characters. They feel like talking mouths that are there to tell you where to go and what to do next. I don't know if Fig was supposed to be some kind of Dumbledore figure or what to us, but he wasn't. When Professor Fig died, I genuinely did not give a hoot. Maybe it's because some asshole in Tower Unite spoiled it for me. But either way, I don't think I would have cared. The two main villains are nothings. By that I mean they could kind of be replaced with a walking eggplant that wants to have some magical powers, and the story would be no different. They aren't even a real threat. Like, these guys just have a normal conversation with us, and then they're like, I'm out. If I had to rack my brain, I would say the Dark Wizard's name is Rookwood. This guy is supposed to be one of the main two villains, and I don't know anything about him, I don't care, and when he all of a sudden spontaneously combusted, I didn't care. Though he's more of an afterthought, especially compared to the main villain, who is a goblin named Ranrock. So I lied. I do know the name of another character, which is Ranrock, the main villain. While writing this, I forgot his name. That's how little I cared about him. And he's supposed to be the main villain. To be fair, I don't know how I forgot with how often they say his name over the course of the story.
Ranrock, 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 Ranrock,
Ranrock,
Ranrock,
Ranrock.
Ranrock.
Ranrock is just another power-hungry villain that spits out cliché villain lines more than a cowboy spits out tobacco. During his final battle, he turns into a dragon? Bro talks about goblinossi the whole time, and then has the perfect time to go goblin mode, and he simply does not. I feel like part of what made Harry Potter so memorable is that it had a great villain in Voldemort. Sure, Voldemort's just another power-hungry villain, but he's fun. Ranrock is not fun. He's boring. Though this isn't to say the whole story is bad or boring. There was a side plot that was infinitely more interesting, and it had to do with Sebastian and his sister. Sebastian, one of the students from Slytherin, is trying to figure out how to cure his cursed sister, and he ends up resorting to studying dark magic and Salazar Slytherin to figure out the cure for her. First off, dark magic in Harry Potter was always really interesting to me, but I think it worked really well here because you spend a lot of time with Sebastian. Over that time, you see he isn't really interested in power or anything like that. He just wants to save his sister. He's not even a bad guy. The thing is, he does go too far while trying to save his sister, which can cause some moral dilemmas for some players. The only problem I have with this side plot is that the unforgivable curses are linked to it, so you're essentially funneled into a certain path if you want them from the story. I know I'm trashing the story a lot, but I'm indifferent on it. I don't really care. I was hoping for more because I like the Harry Potter story and Hogwarts. I feel like it has a lot to offer, and it just didn't do anything for me. I could see myself forgetting about it in T-2 days. Yep, already forgot. I'm sure there's a lot more than just these two neat little lore/Harry Potter references. These are the two that I saw and I wanted to talk about. At the very beginning of the game, when you're flying to Hogwarts, the carriage is being pulled by these things called Thestrals. In Harry Potter, you can only see them if you've seen someone die or seen some sort of death in your life. When you start your flight, you can't see them. They're invisible. Once the guy from, I think, the Ministry gets eaten by the dragon, they become visible. It's just a neat little thing. You saw someone die right in front of you, so now you can see the Thestrals. Just neat. Another detail that I thought was swell was the casting pattern for Avada Kedavra. It's a lightning bolt, which, as most people know, is the shape of Harry Potter's scar. Woo! In the movies, at least, he's the only one to have ever survived Avada Kedavra, so I think it's a cool nod to that. The most memorable and arguably the best mission in the game comes during the third trial for Neve Fitzgerald. It's the most unique of all the trials because you go into the Deathly Hallows storybook, where everything gets a kind of comic book / manga art style on it. And the trial is basically go through the story of the Deathly Hallows and get all of them. This mission is just fun, and it's got a good mix of gameplay where it utilizes the different types of combat, mostly meaning stealth and regular combat, but it's just fun. It's a nice mix of gameplay. In terms of actual gameplay, I think it's pretty fun. One thing I was worried about before the game came out was the wand combat, because I've never really seen an example of it being done well. Thankfully, it's done pretty well in the game. No, it's not necessarily revolutionary or anything, but I think it's quite engaging and I think it's a fun third-person RPG combat system. You feel involved in every fight and you're not just mindlessly spamming the same move over and over, although there is some of that. Unlocking spells was always exciting as well, especially the unforgivable curses. Being able to use spells to create different combos and stuff felt very good. And like I said before, there is stealth in this game, just like Rook would. It's an afterthought. I think the devs were like, we should add stealth into this game. Why not? And then they slapped a spell in there and called it a day. I wasn't going into this game wanting or expecting some kind of Metal Gear Solid stealth gameplay, so I'm not going to count it against the game. Overall, I liked the gameplay. I thought it was fun. The stealth, kind of mid, but again, not really looking for a Harry Potter stealth game. I just wanted to make this quick little section on performance. It is my biggest problem with the game. Despite all of the technical achievements, this game runs like goblin shit. I have a good PC, and I could not get a stable 75 on this game, ever. This is something they definitely need to fix because it's kind of just unacceptable the way they put it out. Yeah, it's playable, it's manageable, but for the amount of money I spent on a PC, I should be able to run it at the frame rate that I want. I already made a video on the controversy surrounding this game, which if you haven't watched, I certainly unbiasedly recommend it. There are just some updates that I wanted to talk about quickly in this review. Thankfully, the chronically online weirdos lost the battle against Hogwarts Legacy, because this game became the most viewed game on Twitch ever. On Steam alone, it had an all-time peak of over 500,000 players, and as of recording this, it had a 24-hour peak of over 460,000 players, which made it number 2 on the Steam charts. So, not too shabby. This definitely makes me hopeful that people will stop taking these gremlins seriously and just live their lives without seeking the validation from these chronically online weirdos. Really, this portion is here just to formally hand the Boycott Gremlins a freshly printed and minted L. The best part of this game is the world, mainly Hogwarts, if you could believe it. I would argue the world and Hogwarts are the main characters of the game. A lot of your time is spent in Hogwarts exploring, not even because it's something you have to do, it's because it's something you want to do. You get to fully explore the castle, with the exception of the other house's common rooms. But I do want to go back to what I just said, which is a fully explorable castle. That's like a technological achievement, because there are rooms that are locked, but you can unlock them and they're fully decorated. They're not always necessarily big rooms or have a lot of interactables in them, but they're textured and they're detailed. There aren't really a lot of deep secrets in Hogwarts, but again, it makes up for the fact that the castle is fully explorable, and it just feels really nostalgic walking through the halls of Hogwarts. And there were times that made me feel like a little kid again to when I watched the Harry Potter movies for the first time. But what's also impressive about this world space is it's not just Hogwarts that's fully explorable. Every building on the map is fully explorable. Again, they don't necessarily have something crazy in them, but they're all fully detailed and textured, and it's just nice to be able to go in any building you want to. There also isn't any official loading screens between Hogwarts and Hogsmeade or even going anywhere around the map, with exception to like mines that you go into. I did find the world fun to explore, but in terms of interactable content, there's not a lot. There's a decent amount of stuff to do in the game, but it's like all busy work. There are these things called Merlin trials in the game, which you can do to increase your inventory space. They're decent little puzzles, but there's like 95 of them throughout the map, and you have to watch the Merlin statue build itself every time! I hate this stuff. It grinds my gears. Yeah, every game has busy work. That's fine. You know what? I don't necessarily like it. It's just a thing that comes along with games. But if you're gonna put in busy work, at least make it optimized with some quality of life stuff, please. Unskippable cutscenes, especially with busy work, are something I hate in games. There's a lot of busy work that's also very samey. Again, it's not something I'm going to necessarily count against the game because a lot of games do it. I just do think it would be nice to have more variety and less busy work. As for the room of requirement, I'm a bit torn on it. I'll start off with the stuff I didn't really like about it, and I guess it's kind of my fault because I set myself up for disappointment on this one. I was hoping it would be something like the Wizard 101 castles and dorms, but it's not. There's also a lack of unique options when it comes to the furniture variations. There's like 4, and I don't think any of them really look that good. But you're not stuck to one color, there are different color variations that you can pick for it. For stuff I liked about it, I thought once you unlocked more of the room, it became a lot nicer place to hang out and decorate. I also think the outside decorations are much better because you can create structures and paths within it. Along with the outdoor sections, you can also play a kind of Pokemon-like game inside the game. There are beasts throughout the map which you can rescue and unwillingly stuff into your room of requirement. Once you put them in there, you can breed them and interact with them. It's not that big of a thing, but it's a fun addition. The room of requirement didn't necessarily give me what I wanted from it, but I think it was fine for what it gave us. Overall, I had fun with the game, and I plan on trying to 100% it. 8 out of 10. If you like Harry Potter, it's a definite buy. I just wanted to do this quick outro to say thank you guys. We got to 200 subs. Woo! It does mean so much that people are actually interested in my content, and hopefully you continue to enjoy the stuff that I put out. If you haven't subscribed already and you feel as though you'd like to, please feel free. Thank you guys for watching. There are these things called Merlin trials in the game which can increase your inventory